Here's the first one. What is the minimum age to hold a CDL learner's permit? 18 years old. You must be at least 18 to train with a commercial learner's permit. Moving on, how many questions are on the general knowledge portion of the CDL test? 50. The exam consists of 50 multiple choice questions covering basic commercial driving rules. Next up, what score is required to pass the general knowledge test? 80%, 40-50. You need at least 40 correct answers to succeed. Let's continue. When performing a pre-trip inspection, you must check all major systems and components. This includes brakes, lights, suspension, steering, tires, and cargo securement. Here's another. What does off-tracking refer to? Trailer wheels cutting inside the tractor's path. On tight turns, the trailer end cuts the corner more than the tractor. Onward. How many tie downs are required for cargo over 10 feet long? At least 2. One at each end prevents load movement. Keep going. What is the proper following distance under good conditions? 1 second per 10 feet of vehicle length. A 40-foot vehicle needs about 4 seconds gap. Next question. What is the maximum allowed BAC for a CDL holder? 0. So 4% commercial drivers face stricter limits than standard motorists. Let's move forward. At what PSI does the air brake low air warning signal activate? 55 to 75 PSI. You must get an alarm before pressure falls below safe levels. Here's another. What does a steady yellow traffic light mean? Prepare to stop if safe. It warns the light will soon turn red. Continuing, how far before a turn must you signal? This at least 100 feet. Early signaling ensures other drivers see your plans. On to this. What is the correct hand position on the steering wheel for most CMVs? 9 and 3 o'clock. This position gives maximum control and safety. Keep it up. When must you drain moisture from air tanks? Daily or as specified. Removing water prevents corrosion and freezing in lines. Next one. What is the maximum length for a single vehicle without special permit? 40 feet. Anything longer requires oversized permits. Here's another. What is the maximum width allowed without permit? 8 feet 6 inches. Wider loads need special routing and authorization. Let's go on. When should you use your high beam headlights? On open roads with no oncoming traffic, high beams improve visibility where there's no glare risk. Moving along, how do you test the service brakes during a pre-trip? With vehicle moving slowly, apply brakes. This confirms proper application and no major leaks. Next question, what is jackknifing? Tractor and trailer folding at an acute angle, often caused by sudden braking or slippery surfaces. Continuing, what is the correct response to a front tire blowout? Hold steering wheel firmly, stay off brakes, maintain control, and let the vehicle slow naturally. Here's one. What is the first action if your brakes fail? Downshift and pump brakes. Engine braking and pumping may restore some pressure. Onward. What does ABS prevent? Wheel lockup during braking allows you to steer while braking hard. Next up, what is the maximum allowable air leakage rate in a single vehicle during an applied test? 3 psi per minute. Excess leakage indicates worn or leaking components. Let's keep going. What is the proper procedure for a proper left turn? Signal, slow, position, yield, turn. Follow each step to execute a safe left turn. Here's another. What does a double solid yellow line mean? No passing in either direction. Neither side may cross those lines. Moving forward, when should you check mirrors? Before and after every lane change. Regular checks keep you aware of other traffic. On to this. What is the purpose of a spring brake? Emergency parking brake applied on loss of air. Spring pressure automatically applies if air fails. Next question, what is the correct use of engine braking? Downshift and use engine exhaust brake helps slow the vehicle without overusing service brakes. Continuing, how far should reflective triangles be placed in a breakdown? 10, 100, and 200 feet behind. This warns drivers at increasing distances. Here's one. What must be done before coupling a trailer? Inspect fifth wheel and locking jaws. Ensure all components are clean, greased, and properly engaged. Onwards. What is the maximum height allowed on U.S. highways without permit? 13 feet 6 inches. Taller loads require special routing and permits. Next up, how often must you inspect securement of hazardous materials before, during, and after trip? Frequent checks verify packages remain properly secured. Proceeding. What license class allows combination vehicles over 26,001 pounds GCWR? Class A. Class A covers any vehicle combination over 26,001 pounds with a towed unit over 10,000 pounds. Let's continue. What is the purpose of the air compressor governor? Control cut in and cut out of compressor. It maintains system pressure between preset limits. Here's another. Which line is the emergency airline on a tractor trailer? Red glad hand red connects to the trailer emergency brake circuit. Next question. What is the primary purpose of the ERG Emergency Response Guidebook? First response steps for hazmat incidents. It gives initial action guidance for spills, leaks, and fires. On to this. When transporting livestock, checks must be made. How often? Every 4 hours. Ensures animal welfare regarding temperature and ventilation. Almost there. What is the maximum allowable tail swing? Limited by vehicle design. Tail swing varies by tractor and trailer configuration. Continuing. What is the procedure for a manual slack adjuster check? Park, chalk wheels, pull-on adjuster. Confirms pushrod travel is within limits at full release. Next up, what is the maximum stopping distance for a heavy CMV at 55 miles per hour? Greater than cars, varies by load. Heavier loads require longer stopping distances. Here's another. How should you secure roll-on, roll-off loads? Use twist locks or equivalent attach points. Prevents movement during transit. Final questions. When is a special permit required for over-width loads? Over 8 feet 6 in wide. Loads wider than this need permitting and routing. Almost done. What is the required minimum tread depth for front tires? 430 half inch. Steer tires need extra tread for safe handling. Onward. What does coupling refer to? Connecting tractor and trailer. Proper coupling links brake lines, electrical, and the fifth wheel. Here's one. What is the correct driver action if you start to hydroplane? Release accelerator, steer straight, avoid braking or turning sharply until traction returns. Next up, what does GCWR stand for? Gross combination weight rating. Maximum allowable combined weight of tractor, trailer, and cargo. Almost there. What does a no zone refer to? Blind spots around CMVs, areas where the driver cannot see other vehicles. Finally, when must you wear a seatbelt in a CMV? Always when vehicle is moving. Seatbelts are required for safety at all times. One more. What is the proper reaction to an aggressive driver? Avoid eye contact, give space. De-escalate by not engaging and increasing your following distance. Last two. What is the maximum hours of service driving time under Part 395? 11 hours driving. After 10 consecutive hours off duty, you may drive up to 11 hours. When are you required to take a 30-minute break under HOS rules? After 8 cumulative driving hours, a half-hour uninterrupted rest is mandatory.